What you just said was so powerful, that witnessing a woman's personal, intimate relationship with her own pleasure and her own erotic body. And erotic, when I use the word erotic, I am not saying sexual, I am saying life force. Erotic is how much aliveness moves through the cells of your body. And in a world that wants to deaden our bodies and kind of neuter the masculine and the feminine, and we were just talking about that, they're succeeding. They're succeeding in neutering our gifts, our greatest gift, our embodiment. So you really get it. It's not about what it looks like. It's about what it feels like. Yeah.
I love how you said erotic is really the feeling of aliveness, because I feel so many of us, we think of erotic, like the way it's like back in Blockbuster days, it's like the erotic section. It's like porn, and
yeah.
And so can you just speak a little bit into what the word eros means?
It's a great question because there's so many different connotations of it. But for me, the essence of eros, erotic, is resuscitating and re-enlivening the deadened or quieted cells of your body. I mean, I get into the cellular aspect of your body. I get into re-enlivening pleasure. You just talked about being told no, 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 no. It happens to everybody, not just women, although it's triply so for girls and women. We're told, don't touch that, don't look at that, don't speak to that, don't say that, don't wear that. Every single no causes a muscular contraction. So I want you to, just so you can kind of really feel this, do you have any idea what it takes for like a 2 or 3 year old child to stop crying? When you say stop crying, that child wants to please you. This is how the body is. The body wants to please you. So that child will clench its jaw, pull its thighs together, tuck its pelvis, inhale, hold its breath to keep from crying. And then to stay not crying, that little child will hold its body in this posture so that the muscle and the fascia actually forms in this shape of denial. The denial of natural flow of emotional response. Now take that to the erotic level, because we are born as erotic creatures. We are born alive. Everything's titillated and alive, right? We come out as babies and we are seeking pleasure. We're avoiding pain. And that is what it is to be alive, right? So then you tell that little baby or that little girl all those no's, and what does she do, right? She pulls her thighs together. She tucks her pelvis. She holds back on this natural flow toward pleasure. And to stay in that way, to make her mom and dad or society happy, she stays there and her muscles get shaped. Her fascia gets shaped into this form and this shape of denial again. So it's really about what I teach, what I love, what I'm passionate about is actually breathing new life back into the parts of our body that we have shut down. Repatterning our body, not in denial, but in possibility, in yes, in abundance, in beauty, in pleasure.
How can we know how our bodies have shut down and kind of start to feel where our patterning is?
That's a really sophisticated question, young lady. I would say it starts with your breath, especially with the feminine. I've been working with the feminine for 25 years. I've been working with partners for 10 years and with men, with the masculine for 6 years. So what I would say is that it starts with getting conscious. The most powerful thing you can do is switch your brain from the critical thinking mind that is the masculine mind to what I call the magical mind. So the critical thinking mind is the mind that says, you need to obey me and do exactly what I want to your body, right? You need to be obedient. So your body gets obedient. Obedient, shaped in denial. As opposed to the magical mind, which is looking at your body and saying, how can I serve you? How can I give you the greatest experience of life on this planet? So the magical mind is subservient to the body. And that, when you first bring awareness to anything in your body, your jaw, right now, your jaw, right? Anyone listening, your jaw, just go there for a moment and just bring awareness. And then I always say touch, because guess what? We women, We heal everybody on the planet with our fingers and our hands, our dogs, our cats, our moms, our dads, our kids, our husbands, our lovers, our friends. But when do you turn them on to yourself? I touch my body every single day. So I go to my jaw, I go to my breath. If I can't take a deep, huge, round marshmallow breath, which is a breath from the very bottom of my pelvic girdle, 360 degrees, up my spine, up my belly, all the way into my shoulders, up into my neck. If I can't take that deep, long breath, then I've lost my organic feminine rhythm. And so that's where I would start with somebody about how do you check in? You bring awareness to the places where there's injury. You bring awareness to places that can't quite move as freely as other places. For example, some people, they can't take their right arm over their head. It can only go to a certain place. So you need to kind of go into the genius and the mythology of your own body, because your body has a mythology, stories to tell, tales to tell, truths to expose, emotions to express that got cut off, right? And the body needs completion. We need to complete her desire for pleasure and her desire for emotional release and her desire to connect, right? And each body is idiosyncratic. My body's not going to do anything similar to your body. And then your story, the whole life story, will be revealed through your body, how your body moves, how your body dances.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I took away after your retreat was using pleasure as a form of healing. You know, I feel so many of us, when we're in deep grief, sadness, loss, we, you just kind of cry yourself to sleep. You wake up and you cry, and then you kind of just like shake it off and go throughout the day. And what I really started to especially do after that was to just like touch my arm like I would a lover, and to start to scratch my own head. And, I feel so many of us, especially if like a betrayal happened or something, and all of a sudden you're single, you long for someone else to hold you, someone else to touch you, someone else to caress you. And then that's how a lot of times you just jump into relationships where you might not see, all of the red flags and things around it. And what this allowed me to do is to be my own lover, to give myself that touch, to give myself that affection that I only knew through another. And then when you're able to give yourself that, you're self-sourced. So you're not going to take like the cheapest one available, but then you're able to sit with your discernment of who actually is, bringing value to my life, who actually is someone that I would want to co-create with, rather than what I feel a lot of women do is, I'm just so fucking lonely. I just want someone to hold me.
Ooh, really, really, that's beautifully articulated. So what you're mentioning is we live in a masculine, compartmentalized culture. That's how the masculine functions. They compartmentalize everything. I'm going to go over here and do my workout. I'm going to go over here and watch a movie and cry. I'm going to go over here and talk to a shrink. And so everything is separated, and we of the feminine have had to find our way into living in that way. What you're talking about, what's happening to you, or what happens in this process of re-embodying, is you come back into integrity with the feminine body and spirit and soul, and you begin to integrate all of those boxes, all of those separations, all of those compartments, because that's how the feminine lives. We don't separate all of these things into where they should go. Everything is aliveness. Everything is connected. My friendships are connected with my emotions, which are connected to my sexuality, which is connected to my intellect. It's all interwoven. And so that is just a really powerful revelation for women to have, to say, give yourself permission to reintegrate. Pull it all together. Self-love. I mean, who go to any gym and do what I do at my S Factor and start to touch yourself with your hands in pleasure down over your head and massage your brain like I'm doing right now for your podcast. Let yourself do that in a gym and see what audience you develop, because that's not what they do there at the gym. But you know what? It's what I do everywhere I go. Self-touch is not off limits to me anywhere. And I have a story when I was watching my daughter play basketball in high school, and she was a star, basketball star, and she scored a 3-pointer. And I stood up in the stands and I went, oh my God. And I looked down and I'm holding my breasts, and I'm like looking around, and all these parents are looking at me. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I was holding my breasts because they were so proud of her. I was so excited. I was celebrating. And that was giving me not sexual pleasure, but just the pleasure of touch, of my own touch.